Well, a fiery exchange took place just a couple of days ago between Secretary Kirsten Nielsen, the Homeland Security Secretary Kirsten Nielsen, and a Democratic Congressman, Luis Gutierrez. Okay, now this was all about the wall and funding the wall and how Gutierrez says, he doesn't want the wall. And of course, Nielsen is making her claims of why we do need the wall in the country, so on and so forth. So what does Gutierrez do? He brings up the fact that if a border wall would have existed between Israel and Egypt at the time that the baby Jesus was born, that the baby Jesus would have died. The border wall would have killed baby Jesus. Okay? Now this is insane. This was his whole explanation. He's there on the floor. He's given this rebuttal to Kirsten Nielsen, and he was saying, "Thank God that wall wasn't there." Meaning, if that wall would have been there between Israel and Egypt, that it would have prevented the baby Jesus, from being able to seek refuge in Egypt during that time to escape what Herod was going to do. Then he brought up the fact that, of course, the mandate that came down from King Herod back in that day was that all of the male babies were under the age of 2 were to be killed, because he was simply going after Jesus Christ, who we know is the Messiah. So he used all of that in his speech to say that, if a wall would have existed, that it would have killed baby Jesus. Now, of course, Kirsten Nielsen, completely shut him down in her comments. And he took shots at President Trump as well, and saying that he's separating the families and the babies and the children and so on and so forth. And Nielsen just made him look like a complete fool. Gutierrez ended up storming out of the room. He left the meeting knowing that he was owned and knowing that he embarrassed himself and looked like a complete fool. But I want to bring something else up about this. Here's the thing. Do you really think that anything would have stopped God's promise? Do you really think that? Obviously, Gutierrez doesn't know his Bible very well. He even actually went on to say during his tirade that, I know it's the Christmas season. He's like, well, I also want to say the holiday season because I want to be inclusive. So he had to get that talking point in there, of course, about being inclusive and everything like that. But do you really think that any sort of a wall or whatever it might have been would have stopped the promise of God from taking place? Do you really think, just look at Herod. Do you think that even with Herod's mandate, that Christ would have been possibly killed before the age of 2 years old? There is no way. There could have been, it would not have mattered what sort of forces of evil were there to potentially prevent the promise from taking place. Prophetic promise that God gave, that Christ would go to the cross to die for the sins of all the world, that he would be somehow killed before the age of 2. And that's what this Democrat wanted to do. And that's what a lot of them like to do, like to pull on your heartstrings and say, oh, you're such a good Christian and blah, 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 blah. But, if a wall would have completely stopped that all and the baby Jesus would have died. No, it wouldn't have. It absolutely would not have. I'm sorry, but nothing would have stopped God. Like I said, Gutierrez is completely ignorant in his statements and everything like that, just trying to just push this whole, pro-immigration, pro-illegal immigrant stuff coming to America and everything like that, and taking shots at the president. He completely embarrassed himself, and people on Twitter exploded about this as well. Him taking his shots at Jesus and so on and so forth. So it was just what a mess and what an embarrassment to him. And good for Homeland Security Secretary Kirsten Nielsen for putting him in his place like he deserved to be. So anyway, guys, it's crazy times that we're living in. If you guys wouldn't mind giving this video a like, also sharing this video with your friends and family. And if you are new, I would love it if you would also subscribe to the channel. It really helps out with what I am trying to do here. Of course, your comments and feedback are always welcomed down below as well. I'd love to hear from you and what you think about this Gutierrez and what he said about the wall and the baby Jesus and all of that. Anyway, guys, I'll be back with more. You guys take care. Please be safe out there. God bless each and every single one of you, and I will talk with you soon.